Okay, so I want to speak about this concept of never ever putting your property into the same company as your business, right? Now, this is not financial advice. Once again, it's not tax advice. It's for information purposes. It's for education, because I see some of the comments that people drop. I just think that if anyone took social media videos literally and then just went and did something without actually consulting, I don't think people are that ignorant. I think most people would go out, especially when you're dabbling in a lot of money, right? So you would make a wise choice, right? But let's speak about this concept of not putting your property in the same company as a business. So what I used to see in the bank sometimes, you find that a company, the business is doing very well. So the guy goes out, he buys a property, but he buys the property in the same company as the business. Now, that could be because he wants to operate from this property. For example, he wants to operate from the property itself. He wants that business to operate from there. Or maybe it's just a property that he decides to buy because he feels he has the money. And then he goes and he puts it in the same company as the business. Big problem with that, because if that business ever goes through troubles and the bank needs to foreclose, guess what? They can basically attach the property as well, even though that property was never meant as security for the business, right? So you always want to make sure you rather put the property into a separate company, right? Always put it into a separate company. Speak to your accountant about doing that and put it in a separate company, and then you can have your business sign a lease agreement. This is where there are some tax benefits for you because you can have some write-offs. You can then sign a lease between the property company and what we call the operating company, which is how we used to refer to it in banking. And the company or the property can then be separate from your business interests. Now, it's a different case if you are raising debt. So let's say you buy a property, you put it in a company, but you need to raise debt to buy that property. The bank, in most cases, right, if you're taking on debt for the business and the property company, more often than not, they will cross collateralize the two companies, which means a default in one means that there's a default in the other one as well. They put in what they call a cross default clause into the loan agreement. Where you can avoid that, you should, right? But in most cases, you wouldn't be able to avoid it because the bank is giving you the loan and they will want to, cross collateralize if they're giving you loans in both these companies. But if you were fortunate enough to have bought a property, just put it in a different entity, right? And always try and negotiate out of the situation, because you might find maybe because the cash flow is coming from the business, you might find that they make you sign a surety from the operating company into the property company. But if you can stop them from getting you to sign a surety from the property company into the operating company, you just protected the property itself. Because if the business fails, here's the thing, you could just take that property and maybe you rent it out to someone else and you could still get an income. So avoid putting your properties in the same company as your business, because otherwise you're not protecting your assets in a good way. All right. So if you want more details on something like this, rather speak to a proper financial, not a financial planner. You speak to an accountant or you speak to a lawyer or tax structuring specialist. But this is to bring awareness so that you don't make this mistake. That will make you think before doing something like this. And hopefully the video helps you. Maybe you're in that process right now of doing something like that. Hopefully this video helps you and stops you, and you say to yourself, listen, maybe I should speak to someone before I actually go and make a very, very big mistake and go and put all my eggs into one basket.